Proudly presented by the Bobcat Quarterback Club. The MSU QB Club allows tremendous flexibility to make direct investments into areas that allow Montana State to recruit, develop, and retain student athletes. In the ever-changing world of college football, Montana State wants to continue to climb. The Bobcat Quarterback Club allows Montana State to do that with an impact on a daily basis. Montana State head coach Brent Vigen says that this is a pivotal part of the success at Montana State University. The Bobcat Quarterback Club was established 25 years ago with one mission: to beat the Grizzlies. 100% of every dollar for memberships go directly to Bobcat football. The QBC has remote chapters in more than 15 different locations, and they present a live feed with Coach Vigen's insider video reviews of the past game and scouting reports for the upcoming opponents. Members not at a remote location can watch live from home. Remote sites include Billings, Boise, Bozeman, Butte, Dillon and Twin Bridges, Fairfield, the Flathead Valley, Great Falls, Havre, Helena, Lewistown, Miles City, Missoula, Plentywood, and Polson. Find out more about how you could be a member of Montana State's Quarterback Club. Visit msubqc.org. The Montana State Quarterback Club, proud to help sponsor the road to Nashville for Skyline Sports at SkylineSportsMT.
Join Town Pump's Pump It Up Rewards Plus program and never pay full price for fuel again.
Save 5 cents on every gallon every day at any Town Pump across Montana.
Plus, earn and redeem points on your favorite in-store items to get free stuff with our clubs.
Stop in and pick up a rewards card. Download the Pump It Up Rewards Plus app today.
Or visit townpump.com/rewards to register and start saving.
All right, Coach, if you could just give us a quick opening statement. We'll use the same process as the last time. Just raise your hand and I'll get to you in the order I see them here on the screen. But, Coach, a couple of days of practice with your team now that they've returned from the Christmas break. Just a little talk about what you've seen out of the team here in these first 3 days back, and then we'll open up for questions.
Well, I thought we, came back in pretty good shape and a lot of rest. We gave a little bit longer time off than we did back in 14, and I think this team needed it. They played an extra game. We played 4 games, and I thought they looked good. They seemed to take advantage of the rest time, and they've been running around pretty good. So I've been pretty happy with them. We went full pads today, and it looked fairly good. I haven't watched tape yet on today's practice, but the first 2 looked really good. So happy where we're at. I'm really proud of our team and the hard work they put in, and I want them to have a great experience. And so we're doing all we can to put them in a position to be successful.
Sam Herder, you're up first.
Hey, Coach, you referenced this a little bit as far as utilizing the break now compared to the 2014 season. I can't remember if that year was 3 weeks compared to this year's 2 weeks or not, but anything you learned from that week, those multiple weeks off between the semifinals and the championship game, as far as how you handle that in the balance of getting guys away from football, but also, making sure, things stay sharp?
Right. I counted the practices. They're considerably more than what we're having this time around. I don't know if it's because of the time. I can't really remember really either. And I'm sure I had the calendar, and I probably should look at that. But it was that's the biggest thing. Is this I thought this team needed rest, and that was going to do them more good than practicing and training and all that stuff. I think they needed a break from it, and I think that the time away has been good. I was a little worried, but when you get out of your comfort zone, but you can't be afraid of making changes, because doing the same thing over and over again with the same results, not very smart. And so I changed that. We looked at I looked at a lot of things. There's a lot of tweaks in the practice a little bit. I mean, just subtle things that, these guys don't know because this is what they do most of the time. But we've done some things during the playoffs with our practice schedule. It's a little different than what we do in season. So, I think it's helped our team get through it. So, I think we're in pretty good shape, Sam. You do learn from the last time. It looks like the timing of everything is kind of the same from the last time, but the things you do while you're there might be a little different, and because you're in a different town. And it looks like Nashville and Vanderbilt University have done a really good job of. I think they're very excited about having this and doing a good job with it. So, and it's great for our fans because we're a little closer. This is a little closer than the last time, so I think there'll be a lot of people in red.
And one more from me. I know when you're scouting out Montana State, they changed some things schematically offensively this year compared to last year, but a lot of ties to NDSU. And so when you turn the film on of Montana State, do you see any resemblance of NDSU and how they go about doing things?
Well, exactly. That's what I see. I see a team that looks like NDSU, that has some of the same traits, some of the same things. They do have some different things they do, but very similar. Very good inside outside zone team. They're really good at it. They're good at attacking the perimeter. There's a lot of things they do. The quarterback plays is very good. They take care of the football. He's a really good player. Their backs are tough, downhill backs. Same thing we would see in any of the Dakotas and in our league. And defense is very stout. It's a 4-down front, and I was a former defensive coordinator, and I can tell you that the less you do, the better you are. And they don't do a lot, but they don't have to because they're really, really good at executing what they do, and that's a 4-down front, and they play nickel, and they're very good. And just an excellent football team all the way around. They have good kick returners. They have a really good kicking game. Excellent offense, physical. What you expect a coach from North Dakota State to be like, a tough downhill running attack that checks your toughness, and then they do really good with shot plays and all that stuff. So they're very similar. So it's kind of interesting you said that. I thought they looked like a team from the Dakotas.
You're not just a case. You're not just a client. You're a person, and you deserve support. You deserve simplicity. You deserve communication. When you hire an attorney, you deserve clear, risk-free advice that guides you to the best possible outcome in your injury case. And that's exactly what the advocates have been providing for over 30 years. After your accident, you deserve closure. You deserve compassion. You deserve peace of mind. You deserve an answer.
Nashville, proudly presented by Dawes State Farm. Brad Dawes is one of the most entrenched and veteran State Farm agents in all of Montana. His father was actually the man who brought State Farm to Southwest Montana and to the Gallatin Valley. And Brad has since helped his son Dusty launch a successful State Farm insurance branch himself. They are among the only, and I believe the only, father and son duos to earn All-American honors each at Montana State University. Brad was an All-American in the 1970s, Dusty an All-American in the 2000s, and together they are two of the most trusted insurance agents anywhere in Montana. Brad has been serving Bozeman and Big Sky for more than 40 years, so if you'd like to get in touch with Brad W. Dawes Insurance Agency, call, text, or stop by the office for a quote today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there just like Dawes Insurance is there for you, and proud to present the Road to Nashville for Skyline Sports MT.
Next up, Teresa.
Coach,
Sorry, Teresa, I said welcome to all the guys. I didn't know we had a female on, but sorry about that.
no worries at all. I've been around enough guys. I've usually considered just one of the guys, so thank you.
I apologize.
What has worked for this team in this postseason? I mean, you kind of had some up and downs during the regular season, but you get to the playoffs, you're on the road, unseeded. What has there been anything specifically that has just kind of clicked besides just being on the road together?
Well, we've had some runs where we played well. We win 3 or 4 in a row, and then we stub our toe. And if they did that here in this scenario, the season would be over. So I think they've learned a lot about how to sustain what they do. I think one thing they do that's really unusual, Teresa, with teams that I've had is that you hear this. It's cliche. I hear it's coach speak, but it's really true. A team that's led internally, by the players is probably stronger. They have a stronger bond. And this particular team has done that, and our leadership has been really good. And they kind of took the bull by the horns, especially towards the end of our season, and then in the month of November and then December, they really taken ownership of that, basically that philosophy, and they police themselves. We haven't had to, overcoach them and grind them and all the stuff that sometimes you have to do to wake a team up. This team comes prepared to practice. Even after a loss, this team has done that all year. And after they've lost, they come back and they're locked in. And but they've really kind of grasped the ownership part. And I think in the postseason, and just says, if this is going to be, it's going to have to be me. It's going to have to be us. And that's just the attitude they've taken. And they're really smart. They've set a GPA record here multiple semesters in a row now. So they're a bunch of smart, high-end, quality character guys, and so they know you don't have to really beat them over the head with a stick that show, hey, this is what you have to do. They understand it, and they get it, and they correct themselves, which is a great trait. And I think that's probably the couple things that we've done, or they have done, not we haven't done, but they have done as players. And they've kind of taken ownership, and they've really policed themselves.
Craig Haley.
Thanks, Mike. Coach, congratulations on everything. You mentioned the team, 3 wins in a row, then stub your toe. And as a coaching staff, did you guys, you talked about the team taking ownership of players, but did you guys feel like you needed to do something, or was there talk along the way like, hey, this adjustment, that adjustment, just to get yourself to be on this incredible level that you're on now?
No, not really. We go back to, I'm a believer, you go back to what your staples are, and that's really what we did. We simplified, I would tell you. We did that in all phases of our team, and I think that's really paid off for us. More isn't always better, and it's fun to do that as a strategy, but it's not what we know, it's what they know. The guys that go out there with white helmets on and a bird on the side of their head, they got to know what they're doing. They got to understand the system, and they have to embrace the system. And I think they've done that. And I think our coaching staff has done a really good job of really putting that out in front of them. Hey, we're going back to where this is who we are. This is what we do. And we don't make it any more complicated than that, And so there hasn't been a magic wand, so to speak, or pixie dust thrown over our head. Hey, it's because of this. This is why we've made this run. I told them towards the end of the season, the only thing I'd tell them before they got on the bus is just be us. That's it. Just be us, and you'll be fine. And they've kind of embraced that whole, not that particularly saying, but that philosophy. Hey, just believe in what we do and how we do it, and we'll be fine. And then I think that's how we've corrected ourselves all year. But they've really taken a lot of personal ownership of that in the playoffs. I hope that makes sense.
Sure. Is being an underdog, is that a relaxing scenario because, for a team?
Yeah, I think so, but to be honest with you, Craig, I haven't brought it up, not one time. And I just don't bring it up. I'm not going to be so naive that these guys can read on their social media, right? So, but I don't bring it up. I said, we focus on us and what we need to do to get better, and that's what we've done. These 4 days we've just come back and practice like we practice, and treat it like a bye week, and treat it like maybe a little bit of bye, maybe a little bit of training camp, maybe a little bit of spring football with the young guys, try to get them better, but not a whole lot of that. Just I think enough to reset our jaw and say, remember how we got here, and let's not forget the pain of losing and what that feels like. And if you think about that for a second, that's a big motivator, So I think they've done a really good job of that.
Thank you, Coach. Best of luck.
You bet. Thank you.
Nathan, you're up next.
Afternoon, Coach.
Good afternoon. How are you, Nathan?
Good. How are you?
Good.
This is your second team to make a title game. When you look back at that 2014 group, what made them so special? And do you see some of those same traits with this group?
A little bit. The run is that group was really, really good all year long. I think we're 10-1, Mike, in the regular season, I think. And so once we got the season started, it was like, okay, this team's really good. But what I will tell you, certain guys just took off in the playoffs. Our quarterback played well all year. Our running back played well all year, but Cam Meredith, our receiver, just took off. He'd been a quarterback most of his career here, and James O'Shaughnessy, he had a fabulous. I remember him having a fabulous postseason. Some of our kids on defense, really took off and had a really good postseason. So that is kind of similar, but that's the case, Nathan, in any team that has a special season. I heard someone bring up Coach Tiller, and my old boss, and he'd always tell us as a staff, he said, man, if you're going to have a special season, someone has to rise and become and do something that we as coaches aren't expecting. Some players or multiple players or some position group that was thought of being not one of your stronger groups has got to come through, and that's what's happened again. And that has been so true of any of both these teams. Now, that it might be different parts of the team that did that, or different parts of the program that made this huge contribution that you weren't expecting. But that is very similar, and it's kind of been that way my whole career. When I look back on my playing career and coaching career, that's very true. Coach Tiller's words of wisdom are very, very on point, because that's very true. We've had, all football teams, and one thing he would always say, he wouldn't even mention it. He's probably going to, if he could, he slapped me from his grave. He said, hey, don't talk about injuries. That happens to all football teams. Don't bring that up. But we did a better job of dealing with that. I would say this year we didn't have quite as many, but last year was the kind of the guys that happened to, that was kind of earth shattering, a little bit. But we've done a really good job of dealing with adversity of injury, and that's adversity that all football teams have to go through to get to this point. And I think we've done a really good job, and the players, that most of the guys have come back, some haven't, but most of them come back from whatever they had, and they're playing really well too now. So I think all of that turned out to, we thought we had a good football team, at least I did, maybe, and I think the rest of our staff did. I thought we had a really good football team coming into our season, but things don't happen the way you picture, and but we had some young parts of our team. I won't say young, maybe even inexperienced, and we had older guys. Maybe it was a transfer or two at a certain position that we had to kind of, I don't want to say rebuild, but retool a little bit and get better. It took some time, and we were fortunate enough to win enough games to get in the playoffs, and now it's all come together, and they've really done a really good job of doing that as a football team. And I would say both teams had similar. There were similar players. Our quarterback had a big year. Anytime you get a run like this, your quarterback plays well. It's just the way it is. And our first playoff team here, Matt Brown, was a great player. Is in the Hall of Fame here as a quarterback. So, but our playmakers got better and made plays in big games, and they stayed healthy, which is good. And then our guys with less experience have done a really good job of gaining experience, and now they're playing with a lot of confidence.
Bobcat Nation, we're so proud to have played for Montana State.
And wouldn't be where we are today without this program.
Now it's our turn to give back. Bobcat Collective is making a real difference for current and future athletes.
Montana State gave us a foundation to pursue our NFL dreams.
Join us in building something special, because when we invest in our athletes, we invest in the future of Bobcat football. Go Cats.
Go Cats.
Go Cats.
Go Cats.
Join the collective today. Go Cats.
Sports is on the road to Nashville. We couldn't do it without Blackfoot Communications. As the Montana State Bobcats take Bozeman pride on the road for the national championship, Blackfoot Communications is proud to support the businesses that keep this community moving. With managed services, high-speed internet, and business voice solutions, Blackfoot delivers the reliability and local support Bozeman businesses depend on game day and every day. Blackfoot Communications has been around for more than 70 years, providing high-quality jobs to people around southwestern Montana. To learn more, visit blackfoot.com. Blackfoot Communications, powering Bobcats and powering Bozeman businesses.
Yeah, Tommy and Daniel have obviously been doing this together for a while now, but their chemistry and connection has really blossomed in front of a national audience during these playoffs. After watching them over the years, what makes their connection so special, and how have they been able to find each other so consistently during these playoffs?
Well, Dan, you got to look for him. He's really good. I will say maybe because where they're from, they're both from the western suburbs of Chicago. They take a lot of pride in the high school football they come from. They've known each other for a while. I don't know if they knew each other in high school. I assume they did, but maybe they didn't. But they were kind of similar backgrounds, similar area of the city, western. Daniel's a little farther north. Tommy's directly west. But Dan's a little bit farther north, but and I think they've always had that connect, and they may have thrown with each other a few times at certain, what do they call those things for quarterbacks and receivers? It's not 7-on-7, but all the training, the personal training stuff that kids do. I'm sure they knew each other from that, and they threw probably to each other in those scenarios, but they just have had a bond. They're the same age. They came in together. They're really good players, and they just connected, and they've been together, and they've been through the good and the bad. Both have had injuries. Both have had a poor game here and there. And the disappointment of that. You learn to deal with disappointment the older you get, as anywhere in life, but particularly as an athlete, you deal with that a little bit better the older you get. And I think them going through the pluses and the minuses and everything in between together has really made them bond, and they're just a heck of a combination here. Every good team we've had has that combination between the quarterback and receiver.
One last one for me. Just looking back at the last weekend of the regular season, the SIU defeat hurts your guys' seeding. Then you end up being one of the last 4 teams in. Tommy and Ty both said that gave this group a lot of extra motivation. How did that come through during practice on the field? Just overall, how did you see them respond to that?
Just their maturity. They never really pouted. I mean this all year long. Any loss we had, it felt the same after Oklahoma. It did Southern Illinois. And it was disappointing, but they dealt with disappointment in a mature way. When we went back on the practice field, there was we didn't have to yell and scream and jump all over them for lack of effort or pouting. None of that stuff happened. There was not a lot of drama, and amongst our team. And sometimes I tease them. I said, if I have a team like that, I said, this is like a sorority house, not a football team. And they don't like that sometimes. But this team, you didn't have to do that with them at all. They were just really mature. It tells me that the leadership from within was really solid. And these guys like Tommy, our players, and Dan have been in their positions for a while. So they've been good players for a while, and they understand that people look up to them. And so it's up to them. All these young eyes are on them, or these inexperienced eyes are on them, and they have to show the rest of the team how this is done. And our defense is the same way. You have kids over there that are Ty's one of them. We have guys over there. Anderson's another kid, and he's been here 4 years, and he's people watch him. He's a great weight room guy. I mean, he knows how to train, and he's really good to have around young players. He's really smart. He makes it cool to get straight A's. He's just one of those guys. It's cool to be smart or be a good student. Not necessarily smart, but being a good student, and it's a cool thing to be. And so that they're really good leaders by example as well as with through verbal cues, whatever. I think that's been the key is how they respond good after big wins and after poor losses. The response has been really good, and that's the best way I could put it.
Thanks, Coach. Best of luck.
You bet.
Tyler Gall.
Hey, Coach, thanks for taking the time today. This
problem.
team has played its best football in hostile playoff environments. What parts of that road mindset kind of translate directly to a neutral site championship like this one held at Vanderbilt?
I don't know. I think it'll be the same as it being on the road. Yeah, obviously. Because we played in a national championship game. I've coached in played in bowl games as a player and a coach. So you'll have similar amount of fans, maybe not. NDSU was they're used to being there, but it was. I don't think it'll be anything different for them. I really don't, because it really didn't shake them very much. The environment in Oklahoma was tremendous, obviously, but it didn't really shake our guys. And we went in an NDSU, and that can be a really loud, and it did get loud in that game towards the end of the game, and it's loud all the time there, but it was really loud towards the end of the game, and it didn't shake them there. So I just think they have a way about them. I think they enjoy it. I think they feed off of it. I think when you have a football team, that's the one thing when I was in the Big Ten that was, everybody said, wow, it's got to be hard. You can't hear. Well, actually, it kind of works in reverse. It helps the team visiting a little bit more than you think. It gives them a lot of motivation, and it's like, hey, keep bringing it on. all the insults behind the bench and all that stuff. And it's part of college football. It's fun. It's a fun part. And if you embrace that and you play off of it and feed off of it, it can be a plus. And I think our team has done a good job of that.
Thanks, Coach.
You bet.
Great game out there today, boys. That was awesome.
Yes, sir.
Hey, guys, check it out. We got the new 5th quarter jerseys and a note from Tommy. Tommy says, best of luck this season, and remember to keep the 5th quarter tradition alive. Whoa! Hey, guys, look! We made it to the R-Bar!
I'm already ready to go.
Our plays are on fire today, boys.
Yeah, so are these wings. And the drinks are secured.
Cheers to our bar.
5th quarter!
Meet the MSU players here at the R-Bar after every home game.
Bobcat Collective has grown leaps and bounds since it first was instituted as the NIL Collective at Montana State, and the Bobcat Collective has certainly played a pivotal role in helping Montana State reach its 3rd national championship game in the last 5 years. Bobcat Collective also proud to help sponsor the Road to Nashville in association with and partnership with SkylineSportsMT.com. If you want to find out more about how you can help contribute to the NIL Collective at Montana State University, just visit bobcatcollective.com/Skyline for your chance to earn a free 1-month membership to see what the Bobcat Collective is all about. Road to Nashville, Bobcat Collective and Skyline Sports. Follow along all January long.
All right, we'll go to Samuel. Your hand is up next.
Coach Spack, Samuel Kim with Skyline Sports. I wanted to ask you, what has been the most gratifying part about this playoff run for yourself?
That's a good question. I like, we've played with pretty good physicality, I think. That's the style of play I like to play, and all the teams we play are very physical. And the team we play on Monday night is going to be really physical. So that I think I really liked that challenge when I was playing. I liked that challenge as a coach. So I like how we responded to that and the way we played. And we've had to play with physicality, and we've executed pretty well our systems, and I harp on that a lot with our team. It's teams that can run their systems, who understand their systems, are the ones that win big. And that's why North Dakota State has done this. That's why Montana State has done this as many times as they have. It's because they execute their system, and you can tell the players believe in it, and so that's probably one thing I think I'm proud of our team. They've done the same thing, I think, this year, and really embrace their system and know who they are, and know this is a physical game, and you have to play that way. So that's been probably the proudest thing, and this our kids have really handled themselves well, on the road. I didn't expect anything less than that, but they've done a pretty good job of handling themselves on the road. So.
Last one for me. People often talk about the strength and conditioning as something that makes a big difference for a team. What would you say has been the impact of Matt Nicholson on your football program?
Huge. He's been big. Before that, we had a guy named Jim Lathrop, who was with. We were together a long time at Wyoming and Purdue, and here Jim retired, and we hired Matt, and Matt played college football for a teammate of mine in college, Kevin Sumlin, and then his position coach was my coordinator and head coach for 2 years in college. So I had a really good intel on him, and they both know, those two guys both knew my personality, and they said, you will really like this guy. And I really like this guy a lot. And I'm a linebacker and linebacker coach. He played linebacker, and he's I really like what he does. He's done a good job with all angles and in all facets of our strength and conditioning program. And you are correct. You don't get through this many games. We've played 16 games and going on 17. And we just you have to be in great condition. And ironically, you bring that up because our team, and what's been talked about here, is our leadership amongst our football team. And one of their goals from the start, and one of their objectives, is to be the best conditioned team every Saturday. And that's been and the teams that get this far, they're well conditioned, and they're strong, and the cardiovascular conditioning is good. So you can't say enough about our strength conditioning staff. They've done a really good job, particularly also with nutrition and rehab, and they're just much involved with bringing a player back from a rehab, from an injury standpoint, that our trainers and doctors are. So that's that.
Thank you, Coach.
You bet.
Jaden Cohn, you got your hand up.
Hey, Coach, just sort of going off of Nathan's question, just sort of looking back at the back half of the season, you lost by a lot to SIU, and then even against Youngstown State, there was a lot of run game, and then you go into the playoffs and you're able to sort of stop that run game. As a defensive-minded coach, what does that sort of mean to you, and how have you guys been able to shut down your opponents on the ground?
We've simplified things. We really, we've always emphasized our fits, but we've taken a lot of time with our run fits and make sure that we know, we understand this, as players, exactly where we need to be in all our different calls that we have. I think the staff has done a good job with that. I sit in on those meetings because that's my side. That's where I see the game from a linebacker's eyes, from a defensive eye. So, and I think that's been. I'm not saying we did that most of the year anyways, but I think we've done a better job of really honing in on what we can execute, and who we are. And being able to fit what we do to what our opponent does. But you're right. I think one of the things you said, maybe you didn't understand you said it that way, but it's really not about what our opponent does, is what we do. And you really have to reduce and throw out. You don't add, what I mean? And we just really reduced a little bit and made things simpler. And I'm always looking for that. How can we make things simpler and easier for our players? Because you want your players to play with speed and free, and not have to be grinding their gears on what they're supposed to do. They should be doing that really, really effortlessly, and that's why Montana State's impressive, because they're very, I wouldn't say simple, but they're very base oriented defense, and they just really good at what they do, and they really do a great job of executing their system, and that's you don't have to do a lot, and, when you do that, and you don't have to, you know football's a game made hard by coaches, and sometimes we can make the game too complicated, and it's our job to make it less complicated, and I think our staff has done a good job with that, and our players have done a good job executing. And we've tackled better. I mean, we've learned a lot of, and our secondary was all new. So we had a lot of work to do back there, and we had a lot of guys that hadn't played a lot of football here, and so that took some time, and they've done a really good job, and we're tackling better, and just emphasizing our individual techniques, and that's really all it's about.
How are you sort of planning on using these lessons from the playoffs into the championship game?
Well, it's really not any different than any other part of the year. It's just how much you can do this time of year, as opposed to during training camp or during the middle or the first part of the season. That's why we took some time off. I just think if that's what we've done here the last few days, is we just all really very little against Montana State, but a lot on the Illinois State, and making ourselves better through technique and individual time on the football field.